welcome to another episode of our Inner Sparks featured stories. I am Lily Yan, your host of this podcast and founder of our Inner Sparks Network, a network of ordinary women sharing our extraordinary stories. We all have so many inspiring women around us in our lives, our sisters, our neighbors, our friends, our mothers, our grandmothers, and our daughters. We need to acknowledge and celebrate each of these women's successes. Let's do that together. Let's use these opportunities as ways to inspire and empower each other and others. Join me to discover, embody, and share our inner sparks. In this episode, we'll be meeting Cheryl Himburg. She's passionate about helping individuals to grow and strive as professionals, business owners, and leaders. She leverages her experience and innovation to help others develop successful business strategies and skills. Cheryl is also very passionate in helping the community. She dedicates time to help others in very meaningful ways. There is so much greatness in her story. Let's get right to it. Hi, Cheryl. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your story.
Hi, Lily. Thank you for having me.
You have been super busy and doing lots of wonderful things, helping others through your own company called Key Element Solutions. I can't wait to learn all about it. But before we get started, would you mind giving our listeners an idea of who you are? Who is Cheryl?
Sure. Like you said, I'm the owner of Key Element Solutions. It's a company that I started almost 4 years ago when I ended my corporate career and wanted to transition into doing something that was a little deeper and had more meaning to me. But even external to that, before that, I am a mom. I have two awesome kids and got married. It'll be 3 years ago, April 22nd. So I'm definitely an example of building a life that you love and living life by design. So.
Oh, that's great. Right off the bat, you're already saying really important things and absolutely living life with a purpose and really designing the life that you want. That's awesome. So you're the owner of the Key Element Solution. You coach a lot of professionals and entrepreneurs. When did you get started and why did you get started? What was your initial motivation in that?
When I transitioned out of corporate, I really spent some time thinking, okay, what do I want to be when I grow up? What do I really want to do with my time? And it all really ties back into that living life on purpose, living a life that you love by design. And I hadn't really explored that, earlier in life about being able to really just create a world that I loved, that worked for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I debated back and forth, should I try this? Should I not? And something that my dad used to say to me when I was doing gymnastics was, what would you do if you weren't afraid? You just do it. You just go for it. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to jump in both feet and really just create what I found would have been helpful for me throughout my career, but also just this space that was really reflective of who I am as a person and my passion that I've always had. My mom says to me all the time that it was there even when I was little, to really help others and empower others to live and see their greatness and live their best life.
Oh, your parents sound great. Honestly, the fear and then the empowerment, two really major things that you need to overcome and help with in life. When you touched upon fear, I think a lot of us have these ideas that we want to do business or we want to do something to follow our passion, right? But yet something's always holding us back. It really is about thinking about what would you do if there was no fear? Like, that's amazing, just jumping right into this. And when you first started, was there ever any doubts?
Oh, absolutely. I would say my inner imposter came out big time. And it was something that I struggled with at first, because you have people around you that are really supportive, and that's great, and you need that. But then there's also people around you who aren't as supportive of what you're doing. And I've spoken on stages in front of 300 people, and I could have 299 of them come up and say, that was fantastic, thank you. One person comes up and
Mhm.
says, missed the mark for me. And what do we stick in our head? That one person,
Right.
right, who says something. And I did struggle with thoughts of, well, who am I to do this? Like, why, who am I to really tell others how they can, you know, relook things, reframe things. And it took really going inside deep and connecting so deeply and completely with why I wanted to do it, and why it's so important to me, and the impact that I want to have, in my time circling the sun, and the, for lack of a better word, legacy that I want to leave is really about that ripple out for others. It's really that, thought of, if not me, then who, and if not now, then when. This is my drop in the bucket, and it's going to have a ripple out, and it will resonate with some people and it won't resonate with others, and that's okay. Because the ones that it does resonate with, it's intended to have that deep impact for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm so glad like you refocused and dig deep and really thought through that because I agree. You're not gonna, not everybody's gonna love you, right? And that's just the reality of things. And everybody look at things differently. But you are empowering and impacting the people who are gonna connect with you, building that almost that community around you that are like-minded, that are staying positive and doing these self-improvement, right? So that's awesome. And I think it's so great that you brought up, we often look at that small portion of that negativity and amplify it almost unnecessarily. And a lot of times that impacts us in our actions. It really takes a lot to look inside and really dig deep on why you're really truly doing it. And this passion and this purpose will drive you forward. And I agree that, the portion is so true. Sometimes we neglect the positive feedback when there's sounds of negativity out there, because we are also sometimes self-doubting, right? So it latches onto you. So it's the quicker that you can shake that off, the quicker that you can move forward with that positive voice, the better it is. And I'm so glad you're continuing doing it. And in 4 years, I mean, what do you think your biggest challenges in running your business, and how have you overcome that?
I think it would be two things. One, it's mindset. It's always, keeping that mindset. I do mindset work every day, every day. I've been studying mindset for quite a number of years, but it's that mindset work every single day. And I'd say beyond that, with my business itself, the biggest challenge or opportunity that I found was when you're working in a corporate setting and you're doing things, other departments and areas, they hear about what you're doing. You get to know people, you're building those relationships consistently. And, other departments might draw you in for your expertise to help in an area. And when I transitioned to being an entrepreneur, I didn't know how to sell myself. I hadn't done that before.
Mm.
And it was a very steep learning curve for me, because I reached out to people, and I had a couple of sales training, seminars recommended to me, and I went to them, and both of them I left before noon, because it just felt wrong to me.
Hmm.
It was very high pressure, and it just not who I am as a person. So for
Right.
me to really gain the understanding that I'm not selling myself, I'm not selling what I'm doing. I share the impact that I have, and I connect with people, and I build relationships, and I support. people in their transition and their transformation, it's not a selling. It was really just me giving myself permission to be completely me,
Mhm.
and um, know that by doing that, you connect with the right people.
Wow. It's actually very thought-provoking. You got to be who you are and authentically be there to support, be there to share, and then you are attracting the right people to you. It's almost, right? When you're doing that.
Yeah,
That's really nice.
absolutely.
Mhm. Mm.
Absolutely. I say to people, we are enough. Who we are, that is enough. It's who we're supposed to be, and we need to share that more.
Mhm.
Um, without fear of judgment. That was something that I really had to let go of. And when I rebranded my company and really focused in on where I was going to be driving my impact, working through the rebranding process was a very personal experience, with the consultant that was recreating the brand for me. And when I was launching it, I said it was really just pulling the curtains back on me, my life, who I am, everything, and putting myself out there. And it is so authentically me that I didn't have the fear of, are people going to like it, or are they going to connect with it?
Mm.
Because it's me, and and it will connect. But it was really being able to step back from that, um, fear of judgment
Yeah.
or fear of not being liked, especially when you're raised to just get along with people. You want people to like you, and sometimes being who you are will ruffle some feathers, and that's okay too.
Yeah. And I think it's a full, complete self-acceptance. You almost have to transition through that first, accepting who you are, being happy and loving who you are, and then say it's okay that, if others don't like it, so be it. But you are presenting who you are, and you're going to be attracting people who actually want to be around that energy. That's amazing.
Absolutely. I say
Yeah.
that turning 40 was the greatest thing. I'd had other people say that, in your 40s, it's great. You just don't care. Oh my goodness. It is the most wonderful thing. And I joke and
I love
say that,
that.
if I knew, back then what I know now, if I had this confidence in who I am and why I'm here and the impact that I'm having, if I had that in my early 20s, it wouldn't be Tony Robbins they'd see, on stages. It would be me. And
Good
don't
for
get me
you,
wrong, it
Cheryl.
will still be me. But
Yeah.
I say that, it would have. The only thing I look at with that is, they say 2020 hindsight's 2020, but I just look at how much deeper my impact could have been all throughout.
Right.
Um, and yeah, so it's a really exciting thing, and I just love seeing transformations of people when they really step into themselves and their power, and
And
you just light up.
oh, I know. And you know what? I'm gonna have to say, Cheryl, it's never too late. And you're doing an amazing job, having great impact and influencing others to think that way as well, right? Because it's really never too late. You can step into owning yourself and owning who you are and be able to have that impact in the community, no matter what age you're at, and no matter what state you're at, as long as you're willing and able to propel forward.
Absolutely. And I think my journey, everything I've gone through in my life has really brought me to the place where I'm at now. And you draw from that all throughout. But yeah, it's definitely, one of the most freeing experiences when you truly love yourself and
Hmm.
accept yourself for who you are and believe in your purpose.
Yes, absolutely. So, I'm going to bring up the fact that there's so many personal coaches out there. What sets you apart? What do you think is something that sets you apart?
There are a lot of coaches out there, and I encourage people to, when they're seeking out a coach, to talk to a few different people, because and even when I'm meeting with potential clients, there's times I say I'm not the right fit for you, but I know this other individual, and they will be a better fit. You should connect with them and see how you feel. Um, because I think that it's important to have that connection, to really feel safe and as though you can trust that person, that you're really going to be opening up to and becoming quite vulnerable. And I think for me, it's my journey as a single mom, my journey through corporate, my passion for my community and volunteering, and taking all of those aspects of my life. And there's been hardship. I've gone through some really challenging times, and I've experienced some trauma in through my life that I've really had to not survive. I don't say that specifically talking about sexual assault in my teens. I don't say I'm a survivor. I'm a thriver, and I think that by being able to take those types of things and build that forward, when I work with people in different areas, those experiences of yourself and of your life, you share that. You turn your struggle into your strength, and you share that out to help strengthen others.
Right. And a lot of times when people look at people who are successful and they go, well, wow, they're successful because they have resources or whatever. But there's a lot of hardship behind that sometimes, challenges that they have overcome. And that's made them that strong and strengthened them and therefore thriving in their current state, right? And
Yeah,
that's exactly what you're
absolutely.
talking about. And it's so great that you are not only thriving in your own life, but you're utilizing all of that strength and all of that knowledge and experience to help others. Honestly, I want to talk about your community involvement here.
Yeah.
The Monica Place, the local organization that you help with today. Could you give our listeners an idea of what Monica Place is, what kind of benefit it brings
Sure.
to the community, and personally, how have you been contributing to its impact to the community?
Absolutely. So Monica Place is a registered charity, and we are an organization based out of Kitchener-Waterloo, and we support young, pregnant, and parenting young women between the age of 12 and 24. And I know it sounds so young when you say 12 years
Yes.
old. And we
Yes.
used to, our age range used to be 14 to 24. And we did lower that because we saw that there was a grouping of young women that were just being missed and not receiving the support.
Mhm.
And these young women that come to us, I say, it's not Susie that was fooling around in the backseat of her parents' car and got pregnant and, you know, comes to us. I could have come home at 16 years old and told my parents I was pregnant, and they wouldn't have been happy. But I would have been supported. I would have been at home. I would have still gone to school. I wouldn't have been out on the street. And these young women come to us with significant mental illness, trauma, um, lack of support. Many are homeless. It's a space for them to be able to come into that we really help to support two lives at a time.
Mm.
And we have wraparound services. So the really great thing about the organization is there's wraparound services. So the young women that come to us, we do have a residential facility, but we also have on-site schooling in conjunction with Waterloo Region District School Board. So these young women are getting their diplomas. They have access to child minding on site. So they're able to go to their classes, still have baby on site, still be, nursing, if that's their choice. And
Mm.
so many extended services through public health. We have counseling. They learn meal prep, life skills. It is really helping to guide them through a pathway to independence, to really reshape their future, their trajectory, and give them the opportunity to um, thrive, to really come
Right.
out of it and thrive.
Right.
And and I know what it's like to be a young single mom. I know what it's like to struggle. I know what it's like to have that judgment.
Mhm.
And as much as my circumstances were different and my children are fertility babies, I still know what it's like to be a single mom and build a career
Mhm.
and have, you know, um, the challenges that go with it. And I can go in and see these young women and say to them, and you can do it. You can do it. It's not easy. You do need to have support around you. You do need to reach out to people, but you can do it. And I understand the healing from trauma. I understand, making the choices to really do something different.
Mhm.
And so my role at Monica Place is I'm vice president of the board of directors, and later this year when we do our annual general meeting, then our current president is stepping down from the board, and I will be taking over that role. And so
Mhm.
it's been 4 years now that I've been really involved in with them, and the impact that I see with these young women, the self-confidence increases, the pride, going to see them graduate, with their high school diploma, watching them go to post-secondary school. um,
Wow.
it's, you can't reach everyone, but we
Mhm.
have such deep impact, and the ripple out into our community then is their changing of their trajectory, and they're becoming really contributing members in our community.
Yes, yes. You're giving them an opportunity and a chance to flourish, giving them the tool sets and the support that they need so that they can continue, grow, and develop into who they really are meant to be, right? And I think it's great that you're there and you talked about your own experiences. I think it's great that they can look up to somebody like you as well as a role model and say, I can do it. And it's not easy, like you said, but coming from you telling them it's not going to be easy, but it's going to be okay. We're going to be
Yeah,
here to support you and you are going to flourish, right?
yeah.
And that's amazing. It's very heartwarming, that there are services like that for a very vulnerable group like you, youth in that age when they're having to deal with all those, life responsibilities all at once. It's very difficult to go through. So,
Yeah, and there's, the socioeconomic challenges that go with it for, young women who are single parents, and to really be able to, help to guide them through that, and for them to be able to reclaim their power and change their story. It's phenomenal to see,
mm,
and I'm so grateful to be able to be a part of it, and so grateful that I can provide a view for them of understanding, but also of encouragement.
yeah, absolutely. And thank you, and thank everybody who's involved in that organization. Sounds like an amazing impact that you guys are having on our community. Let's go back to key element solutions and talk about
Yes.
how else that you are coaching people in a professional and entrepreneurial role. So I know and I've heard that you are the only qualified coach in Canada that teaches a 12-week year strategy. What is that? Can you tell us what that is and what benefits the
Yeah.
client will gain and what should they expect when they take training like this?
Absolutely. So I'm a certified trainer in the 12-week year, and I'm the only individual certified in Canada. So that is really exciting. And what it is, so it sounds cliche, but about 10 years ago, I read a book and it changed my life. And that book was called The 12-Week Year. And what it did is it really changed how I viewed setting goals and executing to achieve them. And so I implemented it with myself and found that, as a single mom who's very present with her children, but also very driven in her career, I was able to show up in those places that mattered most to me with my best, and to reduce the overwhelm. Instead of doing a little bit of everything, I was able to really identify what mattered most and what was going to have the most impact, and action on those things. and be able to pivot very quickly if it wasn't having the impact that I thought it would. So the 12-week year, it's a methodology that offers a way to break out of traditional annualized thinking so you can achieve up to 4 times more productivity. So challenge with annualized thinking is start of the year, we're planning out what we think we'll be working on, you know, October, and what's going to be, and we're predicting what we think the market will be. And what we're experiencing right now with COVID-19 is a prime example as to why it is so important and impactful to operate in 12-week cycles, because you
Mhm.
can focus on what matters most right now to you,
Mhm.
your career, your business, your family life. You're able to adapt much more quickly,
Mhm.
and through the system you get greater clarity of your purpose and vision. You have stronger alignment with your daily actions with what your goal is, and there's greater accountability. And I mean, I say it's great too because I have 4 12-week years in an annualized year, so I get to celebrate New Year's 4 times instead of just one. But
Right.
I'm working on what matters most. I'm working and I stay very engaged and connected with it. And it's been phenomenal to see the impact that it has in teams, in businesses, small or large. I say it's great because you don't need to have Google budget and Google staff size to implement it.
Mm.
Um, and it's very impactful in allowing you to reclaim your time and really, be working on what matters the most to you.
Right, right. And be agile, right? Like you said,
Yes.
do what's really important in that moment because time could shift. And, like you said, with our current situations, every few weeks things shift and you kind of have to figure out what do you need to focus on now. Yeah, and whether it's as a entrepreneur or as a professional in a corporate world, it actually applies everywhere. Even at home, like you said, right?
Oh,
Individually.
absolutely.
Yeah. Mm.
I was speaking with a client, a coaching client, a couple weeks ago. Oh my goodness, Cheryl. She said, we're coming up like on the end of our first year, 12-week year in
Mhm.
2020, and we're going to hit our annual revenue goal for the entire 2020. Like, our team is so focused, they've
Wow.
surpassed their goals within. And I mean, we were certainly celebrating that, and that's not a one-off, experience to have that conversation. But then as we transitioned into what's happened now with COVID, and how rapidly things have been changing,
Mm-hmm.
the foundation that they have, not only financially in their business, but also within their team, they've been able to pivot and continue to operate and continue to maintain that culture and that connection and be impactful,
Mm-hmm.
um, throughout this chaos and this uncertainty that we're all experiencing. It's really a true, showing of how powerful the
Right.
uh, the system is.
That's amazing. Congratulations. You're doing a lot of amazing things, whether it's with Key Element Solutions or Monica Place. You're definitely making a lot of positive impacts in many people's lives. That's, wonderful to hear.
Well,
What is
thank you.
next? What is next for Cheryl? What do you want to achieve next?
Next, what I'm a lot of what I'm focusing on right now is, I guess it ties in with what we've seen with COVID, and the fact that I think this is really it's changing people's lives, it's changing their businesses, it's changing how families operate, how people connect. And one of the things that I've heard time and time again is we just don't know what's going on. And people feeling on an island, they're feeling isolated, or that they just don't have support to manage through this. So
Hmm.
the most immediate thing that we are doing is we transitioned our quarterly mastermind, the CEO Day, which is for women professionals, people leaders, business owners, just really you don't need to own a company. You don't need to lead a Fortune 500. You just need to be a woman who's really driven to have change in your life and, keep moving forward and build a life that you love, a career that you love, a business that you love, greater, deeper relationships that you love. And we've transitioned that from our in-person
Mhm.
format to a virtual, and we've added in a group coaching component, and it will run for a 12-week cycle
Mhm.
and really provide women with this support as we navigate through our new normals, as we navigate through the change. And we still don't know what all is to come, but having a safe space to be able to say, I'm crushing it right now, and we celebrate you, or say, I'm drowning right now, and we dive in and help you, I
Mhm.
think it's going to be so important. I encourage people, pivot, don't pause. Don't stop doing anything that's forward movement towards your future vision, your greater vision, waiting to see what's going to happen. It's scary, but when you have that community and you have that support, and we'll be together, weekly, and through doing
Right.
this, you'll be able to navigate better, but your mindset will be better. Your overall health will be better. It will impact so many areas in your world that I just encourage people, don't just stop everything.
Right. And that's so important because the forward movement will keep you actually motivated and continue doing what makes you happy and doing what makes you impactful. Which then it really, I think it ripples a little bit too, because each person who's doing those things are showing others and inspiring others to move forward as well. And from an individual perspective, it's great growth, but it's also impactful because others see it and feel motivated to do more in their lives as well. It's great that you're doing that and you are actually pivoting onto online format because it is difficult, when you have a certain format that you're using and to then quickly, and I'm seeing that right now, you're quickly pivoting it and then just making it happen and then refocus and move forward. So I think that's awesome that you're providing that opportunity for people to do it online at this point. Because God knows, I mean, we have no idea how long this is going to be. And if we just wait around, our businesses, our clients could all just fizzle away, right? Whereas,
Exactly.
yeah, and the motivation, like people's motivation will fizzle away. So it's great to see, business like yours are continue to focus, pivot, and move forward, and continue to make an impact in the society and community. So good on you. That's awesome. Great to hear.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm really not looking beyond that. As odd as it might sound, my focus right now really is, how can I help
Mhm.
individuals and, team leaders and businesses to thrive through this,
Right.
to come out the other side, stronger and prepared. And even, I know I have conversations with individuals, and, as moms, if I'm frazzled, my kids see it, right?
Mhm.
It feeds out to them, and our children are being faced with um, rapid change, and kind of their world's being a little pulled out from under them, which is very difficult for them to navigate. And they look to us. They look to us for that guidance, and for us to be able to really, be that um, source of inspiration for them to be able to say, okay, you know what? You can pivot, you can correct, you can still have bad days where you're feeling all the feels, but we pick ourselves back up and we keep moving forward, and we don't just give up, and we don't sit around and wait, to have
Yeah.
the world handed to us. We can really take control and do what we have in our power. And I mean, the lessons that will teach them about resilience and grit and determination, and being able to be flexible and pivot and go with flow is, I mean, that will be lifetime impact for them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you're living proof that 12-week year, right? It
Yes.
works, right?
Yeah.
So it really is focusing on what's important today. And you may not have to look very far and, and still be successful, right? And really focusing on what's current, what you can do today,
Yep.
how you can impact, immediately. And, that's great. I totally agree on all the things that you said about, showing our children what to do, really being a good role model and set that pace, right? Because they do need guidance right now. They're pretty lost. There's a lot that they know of no longer happens, like school, teachers that are there, friends that are there. Their relationships very different right now. So they do look to their parents a lot more. So the parents, holding down the pace and the also the drive to move forward and do things that they're continually making impact, and that's really just setting great example for their children. So let's get into our last segment, in search of true fulfillment. So Cheryl, how do you define success?
Oh, okay. So I think I love to talk about that because, one of the worst things I think is when people compare each other. Say comparison is the thief of joy. And people will really look and say, I will be successful when it's something out in the future. I will be successful when, I launch my product. I will be successful when I make a certain amount of money in my salary every year. I will be successful when I have the house with the 3-car garage. I will be successful when. It's always out in the future. And I really think that life is lived in the moment. It's what we have, and being present is a gift.
Hmm.
And so when we look at greatness in the moment, I think that's when we're able to really look at and define what is success for us. So for me, success is a deep connected relationship with my husband. It's deep connected relationships with each of my children based on who they are as a person and encouraging them. It is having impact for individuals and in my community. It's being able to give back and be able to be a support to others. So I really say that every day of my life is success because I've built
Oh,
it by design. I mean, I have financial goals too. I have materialistic goals too. Um, but the financial goals that I have are not about the money itself. It's the freedom that it provides me to live the life I believe in, which is being able to help others and being able to, we rent a cottage. I'm from Prince Edward County, and so rent a cottage there on Roblin Lake every summer and spend time with my kids where we're, disconnect from social and reconnect in with each other and just laugh. And it's me being able to in the future go to you know um, emerging nations and work with their young women on tapping into globalization and increasing their entrepreneur abilities and how to really um, think big in ways
right.
that they really haven't been taught before. So it's not that I don't have financial goals. I very much do, because it is simply the medium, the conduit for me to be able to do what my greater vision is. So
Right.
I
Right.
yeah, I spend time every day. I'm connected to my vision. So my actions are aligned to my vision, which is my success. So I'm very intentional with what I'm doing in my day. And
Hmm.
so I'm intentionally living success every day.
Oh, I love that. Very well said. I love that. Yeah, so it goes back to, your opening, you talked about living a life by design, and your success
Mhm.
is that. So awesome. Okay, so what makes Cheryl happy in life? I think you talked a lot about that, but maybe in a short, condensed sentence, what would make Cheryl really happy in life?
Living every day. Living every day. So I am I am incredibly driven. I am, I love strategic things, but I'm also silly and quirky. And it's not uncommon to be at one of my husband's baseball games and I bring a helium balloon with me and then I give them helium fueled, inspirational, motivational speeches before they go out on the field. Um, I love
I love it.
flamingos. I have, I think, 6 flamingo mugs. I absolutely love flamingos and want to build a backyard oasis with a, walk-in kind of beach grade pool so I can
Mhm.
somehow figure out how to get flamingos here in this Canadian climate and have them all year round. Um, I love board games, game nights with my friends and my King Charles Cavalier puppies and yeah, I love laughing and being alive.
Oh, enjoying life. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
What's one thing that everyone should take away from your story to help ignite and harvest their inner sparks?
No matter what your circumstances are right now, what you've been through, that doesn't define you. And it really comes down to making a decision to build the life that you want to live, to build the career, to go for it, to really throw others' negativity away and say, this is my one shot circling around the sun. And I am all in. So your past circumstances don't define you because if they did, I wouldn't be where I am and I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing and my children could be statistics. Um, if hardship, meant that you couldn't succeed, I wouldn't be here. Um, it's make that decision. Make that decision. Don't let the past hold you back. It's all in our minds.
Right.
Ultimately, we are the one that stops ourselves, and we can change that
You can do it by design. You can
by
choose,
design.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can choose. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Cheryl, every time I talk to you, I feel like I'm learning so much. And there's so much what you say resonate with me. And I want to thank you, and I'm sure you're doing the same for so many people out there. Thank you for, joining me today and sharing your story. Thank you for all the work that you're doing for Key Element Solutions and Monica Place. I'll be putting both of those organizations' website and social media links on our show notes and video descriptions. I wish you all the best with everything you're working on. They just sound so inspiring.
Well, thank you so much. I absolutely love our chat.
Wonderful. And thank you for empowering so many in our community and keep it up.
You too. I think you've created such an amazing space and conduit, and don't underestimate the depth of the impact that you are having and the reach that that is having. And people are hearing it. You're changing lives too. So I love to be connected with people that are just living their passion and living their impact.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that as well.
I hope you have enjoyed this wonderful story on Cheryl. I will be including Key Element Solutions and Monica's Place websites, as well as social media links in our show notes and video description. Thank you so much for tuning in. Your thoughts on this episode is encouraged on all our social media sites, which are listed in the podcast description. If you have any feedback on this podcast, the social media sites, and this network as a whole, please feel free to email me at ourinnersparks@gmail.com. Should you or someone in your life have an inspiring story you would like to see shared in our network, please feel free to email me with a nomination for future features. Again, the email is ourinnersparks@gmail.com. Thank you for listening to this episode of Our Inner Sparks Featured Stories.